Hello everybody, welcome back for StarCraft 2 action. It's Solar going up against ShoWTimE in the Bellum Gents Elite. It's the lower bracket semis, if I recall correctly. And so it's a best of 5. And we are loaded up into Amphion, which, honestly, kind of a weird map. Solar going for a 14 hatch. That's how weird it is. It's just especially annoying to get your natural blocked. The third base is quite far away, and the other third base is difficult to reach. So if your hatchery's misplaced, I mean, you could go forward, but that might skew your intentions one way or the other. As a Zerg, if you take this forward base, kind of feels like you have to do some type of all-in now, doesn't it? But your opponent has a ramp with the natural, so you kind of don't want all-in. So maybe you can, like, kill these rocks and mine this out and then all-in. But that's hard to hide. That's, and it's not fast. I think it's 10 minerals? Yeah, so 10-10? I don't know. We check this every time, and I think it's 10-10. So it takes 4 drones for just one lane. And if you want a sizable army to go through, need to mine out a couple more. But Solar gets down the hatchery first. And ShoWTimE gets his Nexus. Now, we've seen both of these players play this matchup. We saw Solar play against Hearthstone in the lower bracket, and we saw ShoWTimE play against Raynor in the upper bracket. Solar displayed relatively aggressive Zerg vs Protoss play, with early Zergling speed, rushing out about 16 lings-ish to try and harass Hearthstone at the third base, keep those oracles there, kill a bunch of adepts if they are out of position, maybe even deny the Nexus. Really aggressive. If you defend that perfectly, the Protoss is ahead, but if you don't defend it perfectly, you are suddenly kind of in a rough place, I want to say, because as a Protoss, that really messes with your build order. If you have to make that extra adept, have to keep the oracles at home, spend a bunch of energy zapping individual lings, doesn't feel that good. And ShoWTimE, well, he had a pretty cool series against Raynor, the first series, or the first map on Alcyone. Had a bunch of Ultralisks, which was pretty cool from Raynor, but ShoWTimE showed that he can defend, and eventually he did take a game in that best of 3, but the other games, he just kind of got Zerged. Like, we saw Lings, Roaches, Ravagers, Queens, just rushing across the map and killing ShoWTimE. And no mercy from Raynor in that series. Sorry if that spoiled the series for you. Should have watched my video earlier. So, if we take both of those stories, that kind of sounds like ShoWTimE is in for a rough one here. Because Solar is pretty okay with being aggressive. And ShoWTimE has the... or at least has shown that he can die to that aggression. The sharp timings that just cut corners and then hit a strong, like, attack. First Oracle flying across the map, though, from a ShoWTimE. Building a second one, he's probably going for that Blink +1 play that he showed versus Raynor in every game. Well, let's see what Solar does. Only build 1 Spore in the main. That is the closest by air, kind of. I guess the natural's about as close by air as the main base is. But since you probably want to have your queens in front versus any weird adept walk in. And the third base gets saturated now. We've seen Evo Chamber coming up. Probably going to be that +1 melee. Ooh, 2 drones do go down to this sneaky Oracle. Doesn't even lose any real health. Very nice. And there we go. Solar goes in with the Lings. Not surprised to see him do this after we saw that game, or that best of 5 versus Hearthstone. And the first adept goes down, the second adept goes down, and this is what Solar does. He makes it very annoying to play against him. And Solar now feeling pretty comfortable, most likely. Did a little bit of damage, defended the Oracles quite well, lost 4 drones to it. 2 kills on this Oracle, and probably 2 kills on other Oracles. 3 Adepts have gone down. Oh, look at that. Just has a pretty high link count. A lot of Zergs feel bad being such a low drone count. Like, having so many lings and also losing a couple drones? That might just be a little risky. We do see the +1, the Roach Warren's coming down, and more gas is being added on as the lair starts up for Solar. And the Templar Archives comes in. We see the +1, and do we have... No, we do not have Blink. He goes for charge instead. Okay, ShoWTimE switches it up a little. A couple probes don't know what they need to do, but they get found out by ShoWTimE here. A little bit of a stasis ward goes down. Tries to negate some of the mining for Solar, but it doesn't work out. Ooh, an Archon drop. That is an oldie but a goodie. 4th base for Solar is being established here. But what? A Ling kind of snuck through. We see a Zealot being warped in. Kind of giving away the vibes, or giving away the play here. If you see a Protoss make Zealots voluntarily over Adepts, it's either super unlucky that they don't have 25 gas laying around, or they're going for charge. And the Archons, I mean, they're targeting these spores. And enough queens are here for the transfuse. Only 2 drones end up going down. But didn't cost ShoWTimE too much. These Archons are still just roaming around, but Solar was already going for the Roaches. Roaches are perfect to deal with this type of drop play. Now we see a lot of Chart Zealots here. We don't have any Banelings, but we have a good amount of Roaches. Is this going to do any damage? Bunch of Lings here. We have +1, so Lings do absolutely nothing to these Zealots and Archons. Want to use those Lings for counterattacks, and that is what Solar intends to do, but he even has a cannon here. Didn't have nice SimCity for it, though, so it gets fully surrounded. Oracle gets turned on to help defend. The Archons and the Zerglings are running in. We have a lot of transfuses on these queens, potentially. And you can see if you have enough Roaches, you can thin out these Zealots just good enough. And Solar starts kiting on this creep. The Zealots just don't get any hits. We see ShoWTimE trying to pull a Warcraft on those queens, trying to get a nice surround, but now on the retreat, taking a lot of free pop shots out of these Roaches. They do have speed, and speed Roaches are pretty good at kiting Protoss armies on creep. The 4th base has been killed. Now, can ShoWTimE get out without losing too many units and take the win? Taking the 4th base. Has not taken a 4th base of his own. Sends out a probe to put down the pylon. Solar, 70 drones. He's making the Hydras. He's getting a Lurker Den, which ShoWTimE, oh my god, barely does not spot. It looks like you could see it, but he can't. And ShoWTimE going for that 4th base. This is a very annoying choke for a Zerg player to go into. Might be kind of worth it to start mining these minerals out. I don't know if they're 5 or 10. But if you just send like 1 or 2 drones, do you just mine this out a little? Might be really nice to just send in Banelings or something. Roach Hydra. Is this Wings of Liberty, guys? What's going on? We have 2 Robos, is that correct? 2 Robos just for Immortals right now. And against Roach Lurker. Immortals are pretty nice. How many do we have on the field? 7 Immortals versus almost pure Roach. ShoWTimE is just pedal to the metal this game, dude. Look at that. This looks very scary. Can Solar hold on? He doesn't have the Lurkers yet, and the power of ShoWTimE is overwhelming, as the Archons say in the Legacy of the Void cinematic. You should watch that back. It's good vibes, but holy... ShoWTimE takes down Solar. Solar. In the first game of this best of 5, pretty convincingly skips the blink, gets the +1, gets a nice Archon drop in the main, then gets a kill on the 4th base, and Solar just doesn't really get anything going. He has an Infestation Pit, he has a Hive, he has Lurker upgrades going, and he had no Lurkers at all. Made a bunch of Roaches, wasn't able to defend his 4th base. Like, mind you, he had a lot of Roaches and Queens, and against, like, what, 3 Archons and a bunch of Charge Zealots, he wasn't able to hold his 4th base. And I think that's really those Lings and those couple drone kills that you see, plus the Oracle coming in with the Stasis Ward, etc. ShoWTimE punishes Solar well enough for those early Lings. The Lings don't get anything done, and then suddenly you kind of want to make drones, but you also have to make enough Roaches to defend. The +1 especially, +1 melee, not paying off. Let's go to game number 2. And for game number 2, we load up into Alcyone Ladder Edition, with ShoWTimE being 1-0 up against Solar. I was about to say, I was kind of expecting Solar to not fall over and die in that game. Because I feel like Amphion is kind of good for Zerg if you get past the early game. And Solar just seemed to be so strong against Hearthstone. But here he is, ShoWTimE just takes down game number 1. I was quite surprised by the 6, the 7 Immortals in that push. Like, ShoWTimE knew exactly what he was doing. He's like, sending over a couple Immortals, gonna warp in a couple rounds of Zealots behind it, gonna build double Robo, Chrono, the ever-living crap out of them, and make Immortals, force that guy to make as many Roaches, and then kill him with Immortals. And it worked beautifully. Like, he forced the Zerg to defend with oodles and oodles of Roaches. And then he made the counter to the Roach. That's some big brain shit. Real StarCraft player right here. Solar does not get his natural base, or well, the closest base to his main, as his second base. Solar not prioritizing the gas as much this time around, and ShoWTimE again going for the Gate Nexus, going for that early scout once again. Solar not going for the 14 hatch. This drone is going on a trip. And we see the double Queen coming in. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Solar mine up to 100 gas and now start taking them out. Yup. You just need the early speed if your natural base is slightly misplaced. AKA you have to take your 3rd base first because of the blockage. Because we say it time and time again, if there are adepts over here, this area where you don't have creep, it's very annoying to see these drones just kind of trickling out towards your natural. So maybe it's even good to just grab like 5, send them over right away, and then just rally the drones into their perspective mineral line. Or their respective mineral line. I do like this creep tumor because of that. From Solar. Stargate once again for ShoWTimE. Nobody's surprised, but we are slightly surprised by this Stalker. I kind of like it when the Protoss goes for at least a second Adept in this position. Because it's just so annoying to have an Adept roaming around here. Look at that. Look at this. For these like 10 seconds that we don't have speed. Okay, I make it sound very, very weak, but Solar did go for pretty fast speed here. And it's still annoying. Look at these Lings. These could all be dying if there's 2 Adepts, right? This drone, it's... If you do this creep tumor a little too early, it's just annoying. You force a lot of Lings, like 7 Lings are out. One of them even died. Now, what this Stalker does accomplish is that this Overlord will be dead. Which means that this Overlord can't fly in and get a bunch of scouting done. And what would he be scouting is this Twilight Console with extra gateways. 4 gateway Twilight Console pretty early on. As you can see, ShoWTimE is even delaying his Nexus for those gateways. Normally this Nexus is down like 20 seconds earlier, maybe 30. But he's using the Oracle plus Stalker to take down the Overlord. And these Adepts nicely in hold position, don't get caught by the Lings. Also not overreacting, and Solar not making those extra Lings this time around. And we see the Glaive Adept upgrade is coming out. Let's see if ShoWTimE is going to warp in these Adepts on the low, on the down low, on the sly, I think is what the kids say nowadays. Oh, the Lings come in. The Shade gets cancelled. ShoWTimE, quick fingers. Making sure that this pylon doesn't die. And miss rally there by Solar. Clicks the Lings, probably like here. And then the Lings, instead of going the left way, they wanted to go the right way around. Maybe he clicked over here or something. And suddenly a lot of Adepts are going across the map, still chrono boosting this Glaive Adept upgrade. Just perma chrono boosting it. How many units does Solar have? He has 13 Lings. That's it. 4 more underway. A couple Roaches finally coming out. This is very dangerous. And these Adepts just walk on in like it's a normal Wednesday. No, Thursday. Shit. Or Friday. This, if you watch it on release date. And these Adepts, they don't find a lot of damage, but they do force a heck of a lot of units out of Solar. And you saw the Shade go to the left. That is because Solar did do a nice wall in. And the Shades, if you click them over here, they already know that there's a wall, even though you can't see it, and they go somewhere else. The pathing just kind of freaks out. Just like that. Infestation Pick comes down. You know I want to say Swarm Host. We have +1, we have Roaches. It could be. But I don't think it's super good against Glaive Adepts. Oh my god, ShoWTimE. He's just pushing the pedal to the metal. He's getting +1 now. He's getting Blink. He's getting more gateways. And he's going to be warping in more gateways in the middle of the map. Just going to be pushing and pushing and pushing. And this infestation is about to finish up. We see a Hydra going down, so this is probably just for a hive. Into Quickie Lurkers. But ShoWTimE won't have any of it. Look at that. The Stalkers are added on. We have a bunch of Lings here. No upgrades for either side, and the Queens are kind of in front of the Roaches. Roaches have very low range. And the Lings do come in from behind on top of the Stalkers. That is where they want to be. But these Glaive Adepts are not very nice against light units. We use them in PvP against Zealots, and they're also pretty good against Zerglings. Oh, look at these Roaches being targeted down by the Protoss units, and there's just no more Zerg left. No Transfuse, no Roaches. The drones weren't pulled, and now there's just nothing left in the tank for Solar. Or is there? 14 more Roaches underway. They trickle in, but it's not enough, and ShoWTimE shuts Solar down in game number 2. Puts a 2 on the scoreboard, and goes to match point himself. ShoWTimE up 2-0 against Solar. And for game number 3, we load up into Oceanborn, which is a perfect moment for you to hit the subscribe button for more StarCraft action in the future. Homestar Cup 25 is coming up, and I'll be trying to covering it as soon as the replays release. A little too expensive to go there in person right now. Sag. Really have to pray for more Homestar Cups to be there in the future. It would kind of be sad to be following StarCraft 2 all my life. I live one country over to where Homestar Cup is being held, and I never found an opportunity to go. Yet. Solar has been getting his ass beat in this best of 5 by ShoWTimE. So what is he gonna do about it? Does get his natural from ShoWTimE. I think he went for a 15 hatch with an Overlord. But maybe on this map you can kind of accept if it gets blocked. Cybernetics Core Scout for ShoWTimE. I like it when Protoss kind of switch that up. As a default, I feel like you should be blocking hatcheries, because it's just annoying. And then sometimes you can just kind of not do it, and then it feels bad for your opponent. Because then they lost a bunch of mining time trying to get this hatchery down, and you weren't even contesting it. Let's see what Solar does with his gas here. Doesn't pull out of gas earlier. Just goes for the full 88 gas before pulling out drones one by one. Gotta say, this does feel good to do. Just pulling out 1, pulling out 2, pulling out 3. Kind of like F1, F2, F1, F2. Or wherever you put your camera hotkeys. I guess you could also just kind of like do it like this and just click, send them up, click, send them up, click, send them up, and then select all of them and then go camera hotkey. Or the dirty edge panner, you just use your cursor and then edge pan to the top. No, no, no. In the early game, you have to do the camera hotkeys. That's the moment you can practice it. There's no pressure at all. That's when you have to do everything correctly. Later in the game, there's a lot of stress. You have to, like, go to your comfort sometimes. I understand. But early on in the game, dude, can't be doing that. You can't be, like, clicking this spawning pool and making speed. You have to hotkey it. And then you make speed. And then you hotkey the next building you want to make an upgrade, like a roach worm. I don't know. I don't know how you guys do it. That's kind of how I think I should do it, but I'm pretty sure I still just box the spawning pool because I use camera hotkeys and it just always put my buildings kind of in the similar spots. And that's I guess the advantage of playing Zerg, right? You have to inject with your queens every 30 seconds anyway, so you get to check on your upgrades if they're even near the hatchery every 30 seconds. So it's so easy to be on top of your upgrades as a Zerg player, I feel like, because you're already on top of your injects. Now, Oracle out on the map. A second one is now floating towards the first one. And I like this move as well. Having the double Oracle is so much more devastating than the first one. Especially if your opponent doesn't know you have a Stargate, then suddenly 2 Oracles just annihilate worker lines, even if there's like 1 queen or 2 queens. Because they can just go zap, 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 zap. The flyby just almost does guaranteed damage. I'm surprised that ShoWTimE didn't just fly in and try to get a couple prober kills. He's being very conservative with these Oracles this game. Forged Twilight coming down without the gateways. The Robo's coming down. That's early. We haven't seen that. Look at that. The Nexus is down before those extra gates. So very different from that Alcyone game, which honestly, that was a masterclass in how to kick some Zerg ass by ShoWTimE. And he sends in for Adepts here, but this distraction, I would love these Oracles to also start doing something. Always attack at 2 angles. Make him multitask. Now, the Oracles are flying into the main base, whilst these Adepts, nice target fire on some of the drones. Gets 5 drones in total. I don't know if the counter still takes the previous drones. So, 7 drones. Is that 7 drones in total? Yes, it is. Sometimes a little deceiving when... We just saw the harassment of the Oracles. They killed like 5 drones, and then the Adepts come in, kill 1 more drone, and then boom! That's 6 drones. Wait, what? Adepts do splash damage now? Oh my god. Solar has a lot of lings here. It's going first comfort zone, but you see it in the drone count. Very low drone count, and he has to catch up right now. Not catch up as in tomato, but catch up. +1 melee coming out once again. 2 cannons going down for Solar, or for ShoWTimE. Super defensive. And we have that Immortal coming out. We have a Templar Archives coming out. So this looks a little bit more like that defensive ShoWTimE that he is usually typecast as. let's see how it works out. I feel like Oceanborn is a great... what's it called? Swarm host map. You just get the queens, you push the creep forward, and then get to stand over here, throw the swarm host in, or you walk over there, throw them over there. It's not amazing, but you can definitely kill this robo, and it's very annoying because of this wall. The Protoss can't get his army in here. And then if you have 12 swarm hosts worth of locusts just sitting here, they kill the robo and the nexus. And if you're really good, you like click them over here, they kill the robo, the nexus, the pylon, and the Cyrocore last. That's game-winning stuff. Oh my god, what is this? We see an infestation pit, but we also see a spire somewhere. Oh, it's at the third base. It's been spotted though. ShoWTimE. He makes a phoenix already. He's like, I'm not gonna lose this goddamn mudmuts. We saw Raynor try this as well. And it didn't quite work out if I recall correctly. Or was it Lambo? It was Lambo. It was Lambo versus stats. That was very cool. Lambo also does this once every best of 5, I feel like. Just, you go for like Ling, Ravager, Roach setup, and instead of making a bunch of Roach Ravager, you make a Spire, and then you just pop like 9 to 12 mutas. And Mutalisks are pretty strong. Now we do get the Hydralisk down, we get the Lair. The Spire was cancelled, or the Hive is coming in. So this is just going to be a Lurker Rush once again, I feel like. How does ShoWTimE respond? We saw him go for the Tempest response, just like Stats was doing, which I think is a cool response. But is it gonna work? Didn't look very strong versus the Ultralisk transition, but... I mean, not a lot of Stargate transitions look strong against early Ultralisk timing. Only if you kind of blindly go for Void Rays, and even then it's kind of Void Rays are good against Ultralisks, but they have to be in position. Solar is going to take down a couple of these rocks. And ShoWTimE says, hello! Very nice queens you have there. Blitzes on top of the queens, kills 2 of them off. They almost had full energy, and they die. Now Storm gets research. That's a little late. Just have the Templar Archives for pure Archon production out of ShoWTimE. I like that he warps in High Templar right away. When Storm finishes, he's going to have a shit ton of energy. +1 air is coming up as well, so he's getting ready for either of those Tempest, maybe Carriers. Look at that, dude. We see shield batteries, we see the cannons. +2 is about to finish, and Solar is going for 9. You hear it correctly, 9 Lurkers. Going for Adrenal Glands, that's a pretty good upgrade. +2 range, more Hydralisks, and Solar did just max out. Does he have any Vipers? No, he does not. He's going for 4 Dropper Lords. Is he going to go for the drop, or Lurker drops, just like we saw Lambo do on this very map in the same positions versus Stats, I believe? That is going to be really cool. If you haven't seen those games, because I think not a lot of people watched that one, Lambo did really crack the shell of Stats. It was very, very cool to see. And the Side Delta game was just a cool cheese that it's just nice to know as a Zerg player. If you meet a certain Protoss players for the 3rd time in a row, it happens the higher up you get on the ladder. Here we are, 10 minutes. Lurker drops, 4 Overlords full of Lurkers. Not all of them drop, but a lot of them do get in. This one Phoenix! It has been foretold he is the chosen one. He actually comes in and kills that Overlord. And Solar, can he move into the 4th or the 3rd to do extra damage? No, he cannot. Storms go down, and I like this hot pickup from Solar. Oh, yeah, it gets the drop on the Lurkers, and now the Lurkers can just run away. Now, we do have a move into the 3rd base, but that is a lot of Immortals, baby. That's 6 Immortals. Well, one of them was on break. He's like, nope. Sorry. I know the building is on fire, but I have my break. I've already extended or waited with taking my break for 15 extra minutes, trying to help, but I just need my break. I'm hungry, and you know how rustled my feathers get when I'm hungry. The fire extinguishers are over there. The phone is over there. I'm gonna go on break. This little diva immortal. Dude, this is my worst nightmare. A Protoss that just kind of doesn't want to move out. And I'm like, I'm playing StarCraft. I'm like, dropping you here, attacking you there. And he's like, I'll wait. I'll wait. And then I'll storm. And I have cannons. And I have shield batteries. And I will A-move my Archon Immortal into you. Don't you worry. That's kind of what Solar is experiencing right now. It's like, I'm gonna do another move. And then ShoWTimE is kind of like, okay. Revelation. A little storm action. Oh, look at that. Couple lurkers dead. Just gonna warp in a couple extra units. And then I'm gonna just surround all of your lurkers and kill them. And this is a lot of resources, guys. If these die, Solar is in a lot of trouble. He needs to trade out almost the entire army. Oh no, but now he's running away. I don't think he has the movement speed up. Oh, he does. He does. Okay, good, good. He has the movement speed upgrade for his lurkers. Because if you still have to burrow whilst the army of your opponent is on top of you, that's not good. Oh, look at that. This sneaky warp prism was still around. We do have a spire, but we did not see any area units built to hunt down this warp prism. And now a lot of these zombie zealots are in the main base, wreaking havoc, killing 9 drones, but also giving ShoWTimE an in to get through the middle of the map onto the 5th base of Solar. Nice lurker positioning, though. How many lurkers do we have? 16 lurkers. That's a good amount. All these lurkers are gonna run up. Ooh! Not even one shot was done by those lurkers. Like, if you watched the recent Lambo video, which you should, he again talks about how bad lurkers are when you have to move into your opponent. We just saw it there. It feels bad. Lurkers are not very good at moving into your opponent. Oh, and the Tempest have been announced. They're on the map. They are the answer to this lurker threat. But we also, I think, how many Stargates do we have? 3 Stargates and a Fleet Beacon, plus 2 air coming out. Shields coming out, armor coming out. We already have plus 3 attack. No more upgrades coming out from the Zerg player. At ShoWTimE, I feel like he's just in his comfort zone. More lurkers going down, dude. How many lurkers have we seen go down? 22 lurkers have died. What? 22? It doesn't feel like 22 of them have died now, does it? Maybe it counts when they cancel the eggs, but 22 lurkers, that is a lot of resources. They can defend this against this ground assault for a very long time. No Vipers still. Oh, 1 Viper, never mind. Finally, the first Viper. Solar does get a nice position on this 5th base, and ShoWTimE has to move up to try and hold his 5th base here. Is this enough Lurker Hydra? Oh, big revelation coming out of this Oracle. And now, I think with this reinforcement army from ShoWTimE coming in, well, even just running forward with these High Templar, the little Krillin beams, ready to take down the last of the lurkers. Oh no, the lurkers are stuck. There's no Nidus Worm to help them retreat, and now they get quickly disposed of by these Immortals. Only one of them remaining, but there is an Observer. And this lurker goes down as well. What's the tally up to? 36 lurkers have died. Now we see 13 Corruptors coming out versus 3 Tempest. How many Tempest? Yeah, 3 Tempest. We are making 13, 15 Corruptors against a couple Tempest. I mean, if ShoWTimE made like 1 carrier, then I could see this response. But there are 0 carriers. He probably clicked on the Tempest and is like, wait, why does this have +2 air? You are going carriers, aren't you? But no. I mean, you do need a good amount of Corruptors to make the Vipers really good. But I feel like ShoWTimE might just kill Solar here because he has a bunch of Corruptors that literally can't fight most of his army. Unless he has a Greater Spire, which he does not. He can't even make some Broods. He's literally just going Tempest hunting with these Corruptors. And now he showed all of those Corruptors to ShoWTimE. And now Solar feels like he needs to move in. All of these lurkers trying to hug the Protoss army, just storms blanketing the no man's land in between the armies. Nice force fields keeping those lurkers back. Couple of yoinks going down on the Tempest and the Immortals. And oh my god, a big Archon Immortal Ball comes in and sweeps up a couple of those Zerg units. Just Ling Hydra Lurker with the Corruptor Ball is really, it's kind of weird. How many High Templar do we have? We have 2 High Templar remaining. And more Tempest being added on here for ShoWTimE. Now, Solar does have 80 drones. He has a bunch of bases. As I say that, he's about to lose a base. How do you keep a base alive against 5 Immortals and 6 Archons? Even a bunch of Storms from this one High Templar. Boom, boom. Oh, the Lurkers, they run in. They get the surround, kind of. Nice arc. And you see that a bunch of Lurkers did take a bunch of damage, but there was enough Ling Hydra there to support. Oh, these Zealots actually... I don't know what they are doing. I guess they were reinforcing that army. And now they can actually maybe deny this base, get a couple drone kills. Oh, the Hydras come in to clean them up. Solar's in this game. I'm a little surprised, but he's in this game. 14 Corruptors in the air. Like, Solar's ready for the carrier transition that isn't coming. How many Tempest? 4 Tempest. I like this so much. I feel like I called for this in previous casts. Like, go for Tempest now. And Protosses wouldn't do it. Because it is a little scary. Because Tempest, in this patch specifically, cost so much supply. And they don't do a lot of damage. They are just like a poking tool. So you can't overmake them. Because then you just don't have enough army. Kind of like the Ghost now, or the new Ghost with the 3 supply, which I think is a decent change. Pretty elegant. Oh my, oh my. ShoWTimE is just doing counterattacks with like the most expensive units. Which is, it feels crazy. It's kind of like an Ultralisk run-by. You're just like, how are these units for a run-by? Very nice splitting from ShoWTimE, and he has a lot of cannons and shield batteries to back up half of his army, which is pretty necessary. If you want to split up this significant of a portion of your army to go kill a base, your opponent could just kind of send it, right? He's like, oh, half your army is over here. I guess we just A-move and kill your army plus a base, and so I get the better trade. But if you have a bunch of cannons and shield batteries, and maybe even like 1 High Templar just sitting there, kind of gaining energy at an outer base. Dude, this feels super awkward as Solar. You see it in the creep spread that ShoWTimE is just owning this map. Lots of gas on both sides. ShoWTimE wants to make sure that he can make more Archons if need be. How many does he have? He has 9. And he's lost 7. That's not that many. 42 Lurkers have died. Oh, stop! Oh. Storms go down. 42 Lurkers have died, dude. What the hell? Solar's just spamming Lurkers right now. He has +3 range as well. He's really a believer. A believer of the Lurker. Oh, Ling Hydra doesn't do that well against a lot of Archons. Especially if it's Ling heavy. 2 nexus being made at a time. ShoWTimE taking both of the middle bases, and that takes away one of the bases of Solar. Very nice super late game / end game move, which I know I promised a video about that at some point. Like, the script is there, but I just kind of too perfectionist on it, I think. Just loving the Tempest, dude. Nice Ling run by here for Solar, making sure that ShoWTimE isn't up in bases in total. Solar does need to take this base at some point. I would kind of like him to just go mass Hydra. Like, mass Hydra Ling, couple Banelings, like some Lurkers, and just go for a good amount of Vipers as well. Because I feel like a lot of the army of ShoWTimE does die to a very high amount of Hydra. The flip side is that if you just get Infinite Stormed, it's not good. And Banelings aren't as good anymore into Storm. But what else do you do? Like, Broodlords suck. Ultralisks suck. So Lurker feels like the only tier 3-esque unit that you can make in this situation. Like, you can try Broods with a bunch of static D. Oh no, Solar loses his 5th base, hasn't even tried to get a 6th. Does get a nice siege position on that base of ShoWTimE. So really playing eye for an eye here. Bunch of Ling Hydra here. I don't think you want to A-move that into this army of ShoWTimE. Nice Lurker drop here from Solar. Causing more problems for ShoWTimE that he has to solve. Oh my god, look at that. Lots of Lings and Hydras do go down to the Archon and Storm combination. But Solar, he's pushing. Oh, here comes some probes. Nice to kill some probes. I don't know if it really matters in the grand scheme of things, but still, 13 probes do go down. Both players are at a lower worker count because both of them do have a bank. Look at these blue upgrades. ShoWTimE is almost completely up to 33333 and a mothership to boot. This is the minus 300 edition. Oh, Solar, please take this base. Please take this base. You need more base. What a crazy game number 3 here. Both players refusing to give up. How many High Templars is this? 11! 11! Okay, we need a patch right now. We need 3 supply High Templar, guys. And then when they morph into an Archon, it's okay. The Archon is only 4 supply. It's okay. You get some supply back. It's fine. You need to get rewarded for making an Archon. Ooh, the Great Spire now does come out. Carapace upgrade for Solar. And ShoWTimE starts remaking this base. Some Hydraling and Lurker trying to move in, but the main army's already moving that way. Can they still get out? I feel like they're stuck now. Ooh, the Corruptors try to get on top of these Tempests, but the Tempest... I feel like the Tempest movement speed is just right that it sticks on top of this army. We need to give them a speed upgrade, just so that the Protosses get their Tempest out of position more often. Ooh, look at this Lurker, just barely out of range, and the Storm will actually finish it off. Blind Storm on top of the Lurkers. I love, like, 1 Lurkers in Mineral Lines, because it makes me think of... I played Brood War with a friend of mine, like a old roommate, still a good friend, and he had never really played StarCraft. Like, he watched it a couple times with me, and he knew about it, etc. But he'd never, like, played it. Played a little bit of 2. And so I had this 1 Lurker just sitting somewhere, and he just didn't understand what was happening. And this 1 Lurker just killed him. 1 Lurker. It was a free-for-all, so I just put 1 Lurker trying to, like, ignore some mining, and I just didn't think about it anymore, and just 10 minutes later, it's like, this Lurker's still there. This Lurker's like 30 kills. What's happening? He's like, yeah, I don't know what's happening, but I can't expand. It was so funny. For me, mostly. For him, it was kind of cringe, honestly. That doesn't feel like a good first StarCraft 1 experience. It's kind of like a very, very big tangent. Clank! Exclamation mark is a board game. If you know it, you should know it. It's a nice deck building game. But Clank! Exclamation mark Catacombs is like a reimagining of it, or like a standalone expansion, I would call it. Where the map kind of like builds itself out of tiles when you explore them. And in the first game that he played with me, he got stuck. Like, as in, he moved into a tile, and then I rotated one of his tiles behind him, and then he couldn't move anymore. And then he was literally stuck for the rest of the game. I think he played for about 5 turns worth of play, and then he couldn't move anymore. And we couldn't get him out, and there aren't really good rules on that, and we couldn't really find good rules. And I also didn't have enough experience to know, like, how big the impact was of being stuck. Obviously, it's not good, but I thought, well, maybe it's still okay. It wasn't okay. He literally didn't play the game. But we are in a base race situation, and oh my god, what the hell? 16 Templar! What the hell? 16 Templar, chock full of energy. Dude, I heard the Protoss is on the forums being like, yeah, we don't use disruptors anymore. It's just all about Storm nowadays. But they were not kidding. Like, a couple months ago, maybe half a year ago, disruptors were all the rage to deal with lurkers. And then you had Vipers to deal with those, but High Templar just kind of deal with both with Vipers and with lurkers. That is sicko. Now, Solar has no more bases that are able to mine, so all that Solar has is what we see. ShoWTimE 5k, 3k in the bank. That means ShoWTimE even expanding forward, asserting dominance. Your country is my country now. And Solar, GG's out, a little anticlimactic. No real final battle. Solar just kind of bled out with the base rate going on. Sorry for the small little tangent. I just can't stop once I start. Solar, wow. ShoWTimE 3-0 Solar. I am, like, I can't really clap because of these things, but, like, that is impressive. After his games versus Raynor, I was kind of expecting it to be a little ugly in Solar's favor, but instead, ShoWTimE just showed up and kicked him to the curb, dude. 3-0. And if we have to rate this series, which we always do, so that if you are in a hurry, you can just check in the description what the score of the series is. So if you just want some good StarCraft, you don't have to watch like a 3 out of 8 series. This one, I feel like ShoWTimE showed some good StarCraft. It was pretty enjoyable. Solar, especially this game, held on very long. But in the end, there wasn't like too much back and forth. I want to say it's like an average series, but it was a 3-0. But the games were good enough. So it's kind of like a 4 out of 8 blue minerals, I think. I'm just going to keep it there if you disagree.
Locked in.
Can leave a comment below. Bam! Farming those, whatever it is, interactions. Thank you guys for watching. More StarCraft 2 action coming in a couple days. And hopefully for the foreseeable future. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Be sure to like and subscribe.